Okay, let's walk through this Shorpy book cover assignment together. We're going to go step by step. So number one, we need to go to Shorpy.com and find a photo. Shorpy is this fantastic photo archive that has old images available as stock. They specialize in framing large prints, but you can also get these photos digitally. So what you need to do is just pick the photo that you want. So let's say that we want a photo of a factory. We can click here. As you look through these, and each of these has a name, which you might want to keep in mind for the book cover title. So you'll just pick one of these, any one. Let's do hot jobs. So here's the image. To see the high resolution, you click on view full size. This also gives you some more information about the image. Really good resolution. And then you just right click or control click and say save image as. And that's it. I recommend trying a few. Kind of toggle through and find a couple options, because as you start working on these, you might find the one you picked didn't work as well as you had hoped. And there are so many categories to choose from. You can even find railroads, streetcars, World War II. They have certain collections. You can look at Ansel Adams photography, some of these well-known ones. So take your time, have fun, grab a couple, and then we'll go on to number two. We're going to open the image in Photoshop, make any adjustments you want to make, and make sure the image resolution is useful. You can also take off the Shorpy logo. So let's go into Photoshop, and I'm going to open my image. My image is an awesome old dog. So here he is. And there's a couple things I want to do. One is I want to take away the Shorpy logo in case it doesn't get cropped out. So that's easy to do. I can just drag a box around the Shorpy logo, go to Edit, Content Aware Fill, and then I'm going to use my brush to show it what I want it to fill with. And hit OK. And there you go, gone, just in case it gets in the way. Okay, and then the next thing we need to do is make sure that this is high enough resolution for us. So let's go to Image Size under Image, and we're going to unclick Resample, and we're going to just put the resolution at what we want it to be so we can see how large this image is. So at 150 pixels an inch, this is 12 inches wide and 9.5 inches high. So our book cover is 8.5 inches high, so this is fine. So I'm just going to say OK. There are other things that we can do to this that I will show you in another video. So for now, I'm just going to save this. And I can leave it saved as the PSD file in case I want to modify it some more, so I don't have to flatten it. Now let's go back to our list. Number 3, we need to open up InDesign and create a document that is 5.5 by 8.5, no bleed, no margins. Okay, let's do that. A new file. And there's actually a prefix for this under Print. You'll see this half-page letter. So that gives us our page. And we want no bleed and no margin. So we'll put these margins at 0 and the bleed is at 0, and we'll say create. Let's go and see what we do next. Import the Shorpy image and place it in the InDesign document, and then we're going to adjust the size and position. So there's a couple of ways you can import an image into InDesign. One is you can just say place, grab our PSD file, and say open. Now that image is at the cursor. There's two ways I can do this. I can either just click and let the image go at 100% and just see where it lands, or I can drag it out. So I know I want this to be the height, but I can't control the width because that's going to be proportionate to the photo. So I'm going to end up with a big image box like this. I can make it smaller, but probably a better way to do this is to make the image box first. And that could either be this rectangle frame tool or the rectangle tool. They're pretty much identical. So we're going to make it just outside the cover to make sure that we have plenty of room. So now I have an image box sitting there, and I'm going to go to place. Now when I put the image in there, it fits the actual space. So I don't have to make the box any different. And remember, like I showed you on our introductory video, when we go back to selection tool, this is the container that this image is in. Now when I click on the image, I can see the actual container for the image itself. So I have plenty of width. I can move this around. I could have him all the way to the left. I could also make it bigger. The problem I'm going to come into is that I have to keep this at 150 pixels per inch. So let's see where we're at right now. The actual PPI, these are the two numbers you need to keep track of. The actual PPI means that that is the resolution of this image originally, because remember we put it into Photoshop and made it 150. But the effective is larger because we've made it a little bit smaller. So we can go all the way until our effective PPI is at 150. So you'll see as I make it bigger, the number goes down, which means the pixels are getting bigger. If I go smaller, and I'm going to hold the shift key to keep it proportionate, if I go smaller with this image, look at how the resolution, the effective PPI just keeps going up. So if I wanted to make this small, I could change the container to a small box like that, so it crops it out, and I could do something like that. That's higher resolution. So I'm going to put him where I want him, which is full page. So I'm going to take this container all the way to the edge of the page, and then I'm going to grab the image, hold down the shift key, and make it bigger. If you hold down the option or alt key, it'll also size it from the center. Now remember, keep an eye on that number, effective PPI. Do you see how it changes? I've got to hit 150 or more. More is not a problem, less is a problem. We've adjusted the size and position. Now we need to bring in the penguin logo. Let's first open it in Illustrator. So this is the penguin logo. I've downloaded it. I've opened it in Illustrator to see what I'm dealing with. So all this is a grouped object. You see how it moves around as a grouped object? There's a couple ways you could import this also. One is you could just click on it. It's grouped, so you've got everything in one selection. Copy it. I'm going to use Command C for the shortcut for copying it. Then I can go into InDesign and hit Command V, the shortcut for pasting it. In comes this logo. It's all grouped together, and when I hold the shift key as I size it, remember whenever you're sizing anything proportionately, you've got to hold that shift key. And if you hold the option or alt key, then it resizes from the center. So I've got that logo. It's grouped. I can't really edit it unless I go to ungroup, and then it's all available to me. So I can change the background. I could make it so that background's invisible. I could change the color, whatever I want. I brought in a vector object that was grouped, I ungrouped it, and I changed it. Another option is to place it. So you can go to Place, find the Illustrator file, there it is. And the same is true as was of the image. I can drag a little box like that and put the logo in, or I can start with a box. Maybe I know where I want my logo to go. I want it to go right there. I can make it the rectangle box first and then hit place, pop the logo in, and then to size it, you've got the same thing that we had with the photo. You just double click on it, that's the image. Move it down into place, and there you go. Now, that's a linked file, which means that when it changes in Illustrator, it'll change here. So that file is linked to this one. So let's give that a try and see if that works. We're going to ungroup it. We're going to change the orange to blue, and then we're going to save it. Now when I go to InDesign, on the links list, it has an update warning. This has been revised. You could update it, and now it's blue. Now, if I want to center that logo, I can go to the Properties panel. You'll see the Align. Make sure Align is to the page, and then just hit Center. Left edge, right edge, center. Okay, let's go see what we need to do next.